You're here because you want to make more money. It's simple. But I'm going to ask you a few questions. Have you started working longer hours in your current job? Have you started sacrificing your weekends so you can earn more? Have you decided that you're going to do what you're doing now for the next 10 years and save as much money as possible? No, but those are all ways you could make more money. So what you really want to learn isn't how you can make more money, it's how you can spend less time to make more money and how you can maximize the value that you receive for your efforts. I'm going to teach you the strategies that I use to generate $20 million a year working an hour per day. But you're not going to understand them until you master the 3 dimensions of freedom. I'll show you why. The 3 dimensions of freedom is what makes life worth living and fulfilling. And the one dimension that you are drawn to is financial freedom. This is the ability to purchase the experiences and the things that you want. This is the ability to take care of your loved ones, your friends, and your family. So what are the other dimensions? We have a big one that people ignore all the time. And this is going to be freedom of time, right? And without this freedom, this one doesn't mean so much. You can ask people that work on Wall Street for hundreds of hours a week, and they don't even have the time to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And this is your situation as well. This is why you don't want to sacrifice your weekends and every single waking hour in the same job that you're stuck in. And there's another freedom that a lot of people neglect as well. This is the freedom of determination. And what this means is the freedom to decide what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and also mastering your own schedule. If you have someone right now in your life that's telling you what to do, what to learn, what skills you need to build, you don't have freedom of determination. And this is what's so sad about the world that we live in. These are the 3 dimensions of freedom that make life worth living, that give your life purpose and will make you happy. And let me tell you something, 99% of the people out there, they're trading one of these dimensions or 2 of these dimensions in order to get the other. And most people, they're indexing on this one and sacrificing their time and their determination. These are the people that are working hundreds of hours on Wall Street or working hundreds of hours at the hospital, and they don't have enough time to actually enjoy the fruits of their labor, and they have someone screaming at them every single day telling them what to do, what to learn, and the skills that they have to possess, regardless of they're actually interested and motivated by the things that they're doing day to day. And you could choose to give up financial freedom, right? You could choose not to make any money, wake up tomorrow and not do anything with your life, and have all the time in the world and all the determination in the world. But is that how you want to live? So is there a way where we can generate a lot of wealth and also have the time to enjoy the fruits of that wealth, and then also decide what we are going to be doing with our days each and every single day for the rest of our lives? And there is a way. And you might be thinking it too. The only way is to be an entrepreneur. Now, I'm going to warn you about something. Most people that say they're an entrepreneur, they're phonies. They're not telling the truth, because I strongly believe that unless you optimize for all 3 dimensions of freedom, you're not a real entrepreneur. So I'm talking about the people that start their own business but still end up working 24/7 away from their friends and family. All they did was just switch to a different master. It used to be corporate America, and now it's the own business that they've created. There are people that think they're entrepreneurs, but every single day they have clients that tell them what to do. What's the difference between a client and a boss? It's the same situation. You have no determination for when you have to answer the phone, when you have to respond to emails, and when you are on call to solve a problem. And also, there are entrepreneurs out there that determine everything and have a lot of time, but just simply are running with ideas or industries that just don't pay much money. This is your classic starving actor at a coffee shop. He is an entrepreneur. He's doing his own thing, but he's not actually able to do anything that a job normally would provide him. So, how do we choose the right form of entrepreneurship? Because not all of them are made equal, so we can optimize for these 3 dimensions. And I'm gonna give you a little tip that's gonna save you a lot of money and a lot of time, which is choosing which path you're going to take. And I've come up with 3 different criteria that you should evaluate every single business decision that you make going forward. First criteria, how accessible is it to you? One big way to make a lot of money and optimize all 3 things is if you have $1 billion and you can invest it in a fund and earn 1% on that fund every single year. You'd be very, very rich. But not many people have $1 billion. Not many people have the ability to go out and buy houses and just sit on them and wait for them to appreciate. So we gotta make sure that the method you choose is actually accessible and realistic for you to pursue. I don't know about you, but I started off with only $3,000 in my bank account when I built my business. So I couldn't go into real estate, I couldn't go into investments, right? I couldn't go into a lot of these industries that are reserved for the most elite and most cream of the crop, people with rich parents, people with a lot of connections. I couldn't do those things. Those things were inaccessible to me. Let's talk about criteria number 2. That's gonna be odds. Life is a game of chance and calculated risks. The people that take shots in the dark, ignoring the probability of success, those people end up losing. I could decide tomorrow that I want to be an NBA athlete, but look at me. What are the odds I make it to the NBA? It's very low, right? So what we choose to do, we gotta pick a path that's actually likely to work out. We gotta pick a path that is on the uptrend and momentum. If you wanted tomorrow to go ahead and start a coal company, I don't think that's the best idea because coal is dying as an energy source, right? It's a simple concept. We want to pick an industry that is growing, that is evergreen, that is just hitting momentum. And number 3, we want to make sure that it can be truly passive. That's all about determination and time, right? Accessible, odds, and passive. So let's talk about odds right now. We'll talk about accessibility and passive later. What are forms of entrepreneurship that can give you an edge, right? Give you a higher chance of success. And these do exist because in the early 2000s, right? If you started a website in something called the tech boom, right? Or the .com boom, you had a chance to make a lot of money. And not because you were working harder than everyone else, it's just because society and the world was valuing your skills at a very high level. This is how Mark Cuban, a billionaire, made billions of dollars. He sold a website for $6 billion that wasn't even functional 3 years later. So, in the 2000s, the best thing you could do with your time was to learn how to code. And guess what? In 2008, we had real estate. During the Great Recession, housing markets plummeted. If you decided at that moment in time you're going to be a real estate broker, you're going to give out real estate loans, or if you're going to buy properties, you had a chance to make a fortune on the recovery, right? And these people that decided to do the .com bubble, decided to pursue real estate, they weren't smarter or had high IQs than everyone else. They didn't go to better colleges than everyone else. I know because I've seen more millionaires that didn't go to college than did go to college, but they were proactive. And we also saw from 2011 to 2018, Bitcoin went from $2 to $20,000. So if you were a Bitcoin trader, if you were researching Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies during this time frame, you had a chance to make a fortune that would define the rest of your life and optimize for all 3 of these things. Now you might be a little worried. Crap, I missed out on the .com bubble, or maybe you weren't even born then. I missed out on real estate. I missed out on Bitcoin. How am I ever gonna succeed? How am I gonna take advantage of these big disruptive events that these people really use to maximize their income? Well, that was the position I was in. I knew about these mega disruptions. I saw this pattern in really, really successful people. The most successful people in the world are not the ones that just make a lot of money. They're the ones that make a lot of money but don't spend much time doing it. They're the ones that are able to make a lot of money and get there very quick. It doesn't take 10, 20 years. It takes them 1, 2, 3 years to get to where they want to be. And I was looking for the biggest disruption that's going on in today's day and age, and it became so obvious to me. I saw retail businesses, the biggest brands in the world that I grew up trusting and loving, closing down on every street corner. I saw startups like Dollar Shave Club, Warby Parker, and Allbirds reach multi-billion-dollar valuations in record time, something we've never seen in the history of man. And I found out about something else that completely blew my mind. That an everyday individual with no background and no connections could all of a sudden start marketing to the entire world by pressing a few buttons from the comfort of their bedroom. And that was when everything started making sense. The most disruptive event going on right now in the modern history of business is the e-commerce revolution. And you just have to look around your day-to-day life to realize that this is the truth. When was the last time you decided to order something online rather than go in person in a business to purchase it? That's why these big brands are going out of business. So, e-commerce is the big disruptive event, right, of our generation, and also the biggest opportunity that we can capitalize on because it'll multiply the value that we get out of our time. That's what's so magical about these disruptive events, right? 1 hour, if you were building a website in 2000, was worth more than 1,000 hours as a lawyer or a doctor. So, how do we pursue e-commerce in a way that's accessible and in a way that can be truly passive because it's already giving us the best odds of success? Now let's talk about that. So, want to go into e-commerce? Well, I've got a heartbreaking statistic for you. E-commerce brands, when you first start them out, can take hundreds of thousands of dollars to start. Think about all the things you have to do. You got to buy inventory. You got to hire designers. You got to do some market research to figure out where you're going to be selling. You got to start designing a website. You got to do photo shoot for your products. So many different things. You got to figure out logistics. It's still kind of inaccessible. But there's a way you can pursue e-commerce and start selling relatively quickly, to start testing the market, to start learning the skill sets that will enable you to start generating income without needing a lot of startup capital and honestly without needing a lot of experience. And that's this concept called dropshipping. And for those of you guys that know what dropshipping is, don't lose me here because I don't teach dropshipping. I don't pursue the dropshipping business model like anyone out there in the space. And if you don't know what dropshipping is, it's a very simple concept. It's a model in which a customer, right, will give you their money for a particular product, and then once you have the money, you're going to give that money and give it to a factory, right, that is producing the good that you're actually selling. So you only have to pay for inventory once the customer has already paid you. And as a result, you're able to save a lot of risk. You don't have to come in with hundreds of thousands of dollars anymore. As long as you can make a concept that works, you're gonna feel really, really confident because you're only paying for the costs of that product after you've already sold it to the customer. So how do I teach e-commerce and dropshipping in a way that's different than anyone out there? And I want you to challenge me on this. Go out there and look at how other people are teaching e-commerce. It's not the same way. There's a few differentiators. Number one, I don't do it like anyone else. My websites don't look like anyone else's. You've probably seen websites with one product that is soaring in sales and then just die after a month or 2 months. I don't do single product websites. They're stupid. You're relying all your sales to be on one product, and if anyone steals your product or starts selling it too, they're gonna saturate you out. That's not a sustainable business. That's not something that's passive. That's violating our criteria for a true entrepreneur. And what about general stores? These are the sites that you see people teaching about and executing, where there's a lot of different random products on the site. It honestly looks a little scammy, it's very disorganized, and they're just trying to farm out wow factor products, right? The moon lamp, a race car that transforms into a boat, and half the time these things show up to the customer's doorsteps and they don't even work, and people are angry, people are pissed off. You know, Facebook is banning them off their platform, payment processors don't want to work with them. This is not passive, it's not sustainable. What I do is I build brands, okay? I use the drop shipping business model in order to make e-commerce more accessible to someone that doesn't have a lot of money, but our long-term vision is to build a brand that is just like the ones that I talked about before, a brand that we can admire, a brand that we can trust, a brand that is sustainable, that will keep generating income for a very, very long time, a brand that won't die. Number 2, I automate, right? Because running a brand takes a lot of time, right? You have to be making ads, you have to be changing your website, you have to do logistics, there's a lot of things to figure out. But through automation, which is basically hiring people to do things that you don't have to do once you've already mastered them. In the beginning, I'm gonna tell you, it will take a lot of time. It'll take a lot of hard work, but entrepreneurship is all about investments. You're investing a large sum of time today, tomorrow, so then you don't have to spend much time later down in the road, right? You're putting all the effort and work in now, so then later on, you don't have to work as hard as anyone else to generate a lot of income. In the beginning, when I was building my business, it was a really difficult process, but now I'm at a point where I can generate $20 million in a year only working an hour a day. And I do that by freeing up my time by hiring people. And why does hiring people work? You might be thinking, wow, people are really, really expensive, right? Minimum wage is what, $10, $8, depending on the state you live in, because I leverage the global workforce, okay? There are areas in the world where people are ecstatic to make $4, $3, $5 an hour, and they're not dumb people. They're working hard. They're fighting to survive, right? Because in those countries, if they can make $5 an hour, they are rich. They can support their family. They can send their children to school. And these people are just as smart as you and I. They might not be as educated, so you have to train them and do certain things to make sure they get up to speed. But once you do train them effectively, they deliver a lot of value. And let me tell you, something that's very important in life, they'll never betray you, because you've given them a lifeline that they otherwise would have never had. And you'll be surprised at how smart these guys are. My CEO of my business, a business that's gonna do $20 million in sales, he's an MBA student from Ukraine. And let me tell you, he couldn't even find a job, and all he wanted to get paid by me was $20 an hour. I try to go out to Harvard MBA or go out to Stanford and try to hire a full-time grad, $200,000, $300,000 easy, and no way they work as hard as this guy. And let me tell you, he is smarter than I am. He does more work for my business than I do, but he is ecstatic to maintain the level of income that I've given. And that's the trust that we've built, because I've given him opportunity, and this exists all over the world, and people just aren't accessing it. So in the long term, we're gonna take away our personal responsibilities and give it to someone else so we can enjoy the fruits of everything we've built. And the third way that I teach dropshipping a little bit differently, and the reasons for my success, is because we engage suppliers in China in the real way, okay? All the people out there that are just dropshipping AliExpress products, they just treat the agent as someone that's giving them a good that they're selling to customers. They don't actually take time to get to know them, communicate with them, or even negotiate with them. Well, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. In this model up here, we have the factory, right? This is what everyone thinks is going on in dropshipping, but that's not true. The agent is not the factory. The agent is actually here, okay? It's another individual, okay? They are buying from the factory with their money and taking the inventory so you as a merchant don't have to. This person is an entrepreneur. They're a hustler. They're trying to get ahead for their family in the same way you and I are trying to get ahead. So they're actually very, very open-minded to working with us. And what I've been able to do, because I've been blessed to have had Chinese immigrant parents, I've been able to negotiate them. And what do I achieve through negotiating with them? I get lower prices, so I end up making more money. It costs less for me to run more marketing, right? Because my margins are a lot better. I get things branded. So the items that my customers receive from the same business model everyone else is doing, but doing it in the worst way, come with tags, come with custom packaging, come with even my logos on them, so you wouldn't even know that these products came from AliExpress or came from an agent. And also, we're able to increase product quality because these guys are ordering from the factories, right? If we're gonna be able to tell them and trust them and say, hey, I want higher quality items. My customers are pissed off. My sizing is Chinese sizing. It's not US sizing. Can you fix this? We've built trust with them because we know how to speak Chinese. We've engaged them, and as a result, they're able to do that for us. And finally, we get faster logistics, right? The worst thing about AliExpress, your products come in 30 days, sometimes 40 days, or sometimes they don't come at all. Well, when you engage these people, they're the ones that are shipping the products to your customers. You can get better shipping methods that aren't that expensive, but guess what? They're not advertised on AliExpress because AliExpress has unique deals with ePacket and the shipping methods they offer right now where they don't want to allow you to have faster logistics. They're locked by contracts with these shipping methods. But the moment you engage the agent and you turn them on your side and you turn your back away from AliExpress, you're able to have all of these wonderful things. So these three things, and people ask me all the time, Kevin, started off dropshipping, started in e-commerce, how are you able to do $20 million in your first year as an entrepreneur? It's because my businesses are unlike everyone else's. I don't compete with the scammy sites that are out there. I don't have my products get saturated after a month, right? My businesses are a lot more sustainable. Also, because I've mastered the art of automation by leveraging global markets, I'm able to focus on growth and scale. I'm able to make more sites than anyone else because I've got a full team. I've got over 50 people working with me right now, 24/7, living in different countries, and I don't have to pay them much, but they're so happy to work for me. And also because I've got an inside with suppliers. I've got a team on the ground in China at this point that I acquired by talking to my agent in Chinese, right? And I think about my journey for the past year, how my life has completely changed. Starting $3,000 in the bank account, deciding to build my e-commerce business, was living in my parents' basement. They were so angry at me for giving up my job because I didn't want to be a part of this corporate system where you have to trade dimensions of freedom in order to get finances. And I went through my fair struggles, but I always think back now to mom and dad. My parents were Chinese immigrants, and my dad was cleaning lab equipment for less than minimum wage. My mom worked 2 full-time shifts as a waitress and also as a house cleaner. And I think, how could they work so hard and sleep so little and suffer and receive barely enough to survive? I think about the fact that they didn't have access to this education, this knowledge that could have changed their lives and changed my life when I was younger. And I think about you, someone that's hardworking, proactive. You're looking for opportunities. You want to get ahead, but you just simply don't know where to channel your efforts. So I decided that right now, I make more money than I know how to spend at 24, okay? And I decided this was the year I went from personal success to significance. I'm still going to be running my business. I'm still going to be making money that makes me very, very happy. I still have all 3 of those dimensions, but I think about people that don't. And significance is something that's important to me now, and it's something that I can only achieve if I elevate people around me. The truly significant people in your life are people that have done something great for you. So I've made it my mission this year to pursue significance and not just personal success. And what I did was I first decided, hey, I want to make sure that if I'm going to teach e-commerce, that it isn't already taught out there, right? There has to be somebody that's teaching this wonderful, wonderful thing that's changing my life. So I went out there and I bought a lot of courses and I went through all of them. And honestly, it surprised me the prices these people were charging for courses that were absolutely garbage. Either methods that just simply don't work anymore, or people that actually didn't know what they were talking about and they were only making money because they were selling courses, or honestly, methods that were completely unsustainable, like single product sites and general stores, or methods that didn't optimize for passive income, didn't optimize for accessibility and sustainability, didn't optimize for the 3 dimensions of freedom that make being an entrepreneur actually worthwhile. And I decided I'm going to change the space of e-commerce education. But I wanted to make sure one more thing, that I wasn't just a good entrepreneur, that I could also be a good educator, that these methods that work for me could work for other people just like you. So for the past 9 months, I've been educating thousands of people for free. And so many of them have changed their lives using these exact methods that I've been teaching. And don't just hear it from me, hear it from Tyler, who just generated $20,000 in one day.
Kevin is the real deal. He cares about people. With his advice, I was able to help a fashion brand client I have make their first 5-figure day. And after a 14-day long promo, we managed to generate 6 figures worth of revenue. So if you're looking for someone knowledgeable in e-commerce, dropshipping, and Facebook ads, Kevin is the guy.
Hear it from Austin.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to Kevin Zhang. I've been able to grow substantially. He's helped me come from like 6 figures to substantial 7 figures, going to 8 figures. And then he's always been there, and the content he produces and provides is just so valuable. I don't really talk about my success, but I'll throw up a couple slides of what we look like and how much we've made in the past 2 months. I look forward to just growing with Kevin and his team moving forward.
And there's so many more of them out there. So I was so inspired by the impact I was able to have on other people's lives that I decided to make the best e-commerce course out there in the game. And I mean that this is the best course. No one else there in the education space has had the experience of building a sustainable business and getting the results that I have, truly starting from scratch in a short period of time. No one else there in the space has done the due diligence that I've done for months in order to make the best curriculum out there. And what's included in this course? I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, step by step, so you can go from knowing nothing, having no experience exactly like me, to eventually building an e-commerce business, and not only a business that pays the bills, not only a business that frees your time, but a business that can truly grow to be a global empire if that's your goal. I'm going to teach you how to source effective products. I'm going to even go back to the basics. I'm going to teach you the mindset that will enable you to build a multi-million-dollar business and manage a lot of people. I'm going to teach you how to build engaging websites that aren't like any others in this space. I'm going to teach you how to make advertisements without the need of consultants or agencies or contractors. Everything you can do in-house from the comforts of your own computer that can generate millions of dollars in sales that will look as good as the biggest advertisements out there pushed by major brands. And I'm going to teach you, of course, a mastery in Facebook ad strategies that I took millions of dollars in testing to perfect. And I know what you're thinking, the elephant in the room. How are you going to engage these suppliers in China that have differentiated me from everyone else in this space? In this course, I've got ready-made copy and paste scripts in Chinese that you can use on day one to start negotiating with these suppliers. And I even have lessons on Chinese psychology so you can win these negotiations and differentiate yourself even further. And learning from me, it's not going to be the same as learning from everyone else, because I'm not a guru. I'm not just an educator that makes money selling courses. I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur. And my goal is to get to $100 million in sales by the end of 2021. And I'm going to keep this course updated in real time. So whenever I find something new, whenever I find another strategy in this ever-changing world of e-commerce, you'll be the first to know to crush your competitors. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but the price point is just a little steep. And trust me, I know that it isn't chump change. I've been there. I've been struggling where this amount of money was my whole entire life. So I want to do something more for you. I want to make sure that in this course, an e-commerce millionaire mastery, and it is truly a mastery, that if you leverage the skill sets I teach in this course, the high demand skill sets right now in a world that is shooting up with e-commerce, a space that is on high momentum, skills like graphic design, skills like website design, copywriting, ad strategy, that you can take those skills from this course, and even if you decided not to build an e-commerce business, that you could achieve a six-figure income just by leveraging those skills and helping out other e-commerce businesses in the market. So truly, this course would pay for itself regardless if you actually decide to pursue an e-commerce business or not. So, if you're ready to change your life, if you're ready to make an investment in yourself and the people that you care about, if you're ready to master the 3 dimensions of freedom that make life truly wonderful and worth living, if you're ready to take advantage of the biggest wealth generating and disruptive opportunity in this modern age, I want you to click the link below and enroll, because I'm thrilled to be your teacher, your mentor, your friend, and even most importantly, to help you win.